Good morning, America. We're going to tell you where it still feels like summer, the possible danger on some planes, and history for small screen stars on the big stage. Tornado outbreak, at least 20 reported overnight as temperatures soar. The summer heat is holding on, but how long will it last? Ginger is tracking it all.
New details on the investigation into Charlie Kirk's killer, as authorities pour over what they call a mountain of evidence against the 22-year-old suspect from the moment he drove onto campus. Charges about to be filed. Overnight, lawmakers honored the right-wing activist as his widow speaks publicly for the first time.
Toxic air. The rate of reported flights with toxic fumes is accelerating, sickening crew and passengers.
Our union has been concerned about this for decades.
This morning, the new Wall Street Journal investigation and what may be behind the spike in these so-called fume events.
Tensions high overseas after Russian drones violated the airspace of another NATO ally. Now, as Russia steps up its aggression, President Trump raises new conditions for sanctions on Moscow.
I thought you were like one of our detectives at first.
The convicted felon accused of impersonating police officers responding to calls. How officers say they knew something was off, and what they found in his trunk.
Thank you for being a friend.
I know what city I'm in right now, so I'm going with the Eagles!
Oh, Strahan called it.
Saquon Barkley is in.
The Eagles winning their Super Bowl rematch.
Hurts shoving his way in. He's in. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
Giving this Emmy winner another reason to celebrate.
I just want to say, finally, go Birds.
Overnight, television's biggest stars on the big stage. Seth Rogen's comedy record-setting.
Thank you very much. I'm legitimately embarrassed by how happy this makes me.
15-year-old adolescent star Owen Cooper making history.
If you listen and you focus and you step out your comfort zone, you can achieve anything in life.
And the thank yous.
Mama, and this is for you.
All the nurses that inspired Dana.
Thank you for being in that job. This is for you.
Thank you for being a friend.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Monday. Good morning, America.
I don't know how many friends Stray made.
Yeah, I was going to say, welcome to a new week, Michael.
That was brave.
But he was right.
Yeah, he
was definitely right. And there's a lot more football tonight. Troy Aikman's going to join us live, head of a Monday Night Football doubleheader.
And Will Reeve is in Houston this morning for one of the games. He's got much more ahead, including one player's inspiring story. But first, we have a lot of news to get to, starting with the summer heat holding strong, plus a tornado outbreak in the heartland. Ginger is here tracking it all for us.
Yeah,
Good
the
morning.
pictures coming in over the weekend were stunning, and the kind we like because most of them were out in fields where we didn't see impacts to towns. But let's look and talk about what's happened. At least 24 reported tornadoes, including here in southern Utah. So it's actually southeastern Utah. This is what we call kind of a stovepipe shape of a tornado. Again, out there in the fields, nobody injured. We love to see that. But the atmosphere was really going. This is from Sunday in Wing, North Dakota. That's where we saw a majority right up the center of the state into northern South Dakota. There were hail, damaging wind reports as well. And this is the time of year where you see the shift between cool and warm, and then often you can get those thunderstorms. However, we're not going to see a lot of shift until the end of the week. Look at some of the numbers, like Minneapolis going to 90 on Tuesday. Remember, we're already well past their average last 90, usually late August. So weeks past that at 90 there on Tuesday. Wednesday, 85. Chicago stays in the 80s. Cincinnati, Nashville in the 90s, and Kansas City right up there too. But you want a change, and you are going to get it by Friday. That's when things return to about average. It's not super cool, but still Cincinnati at that point near 90. We're going to keep this warmth coming back again by next week. So a real shift from that cool August that we saw.
Thank you, Ginger. We're getting the latest now on the investigation of the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Over the weekend, his widow made her first public remarks since the shooting, promising the movement he built would keep going. This morning, authorities are in Utah preparing to bring charges against the man who gunned down her husband 5 days ago. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is in Spanish Fork, Utah. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. And that suspect is now an inmate in that jail behind me. Now, the DA hopes to be able to file formal murder charges against him by tomorrow. They say that they've built a mountain of evidence against him, a mountain that appears to have grown this morning when FBI Director Kash Patel announced that the DNA on the towel that was wrapped around the murder weapon matches the suspect's DNA. This morning, authorities in Utah are poring over what they call a mountain of evidence against 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, the man authorities say fired that single fatal shot, killing Charlie Kirk. FBI Director Kash Patel revealing the suspect's DNA was found on the towel wrapped around the alleged murder weapon located in a stand of trees near the school, as well as a screwdriver found at the crime scene. The district attorney saying they hope to file charges by tomorrow, but authorities say they're getting little help from the suspect, who turned himself in late Thursday.
He's not cooperating, but all the people around him are cooperating.
Utah's governor saying they have interviewed Robinson's roommate, with whom they say he was romantically involved. Authorities say it was his own father who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office after seeing those grainy pictures that were shared with the public. And according to the New York Times, those images were also recognized by acquaintances of the suspect in a group chat on a messaging app. The messages described by the Times reportedly show one user tagging the suspect's username and asking, "Where are you at?" with a skull emoji. Suspect quickly responding that the man in the picture was his doppelganger and that people were trying to get him in trouble. Law enforcement is now reviewing this video obtained by TMZ, which appears to show the suspect walking towards campus at 8:07 a.m. In another video obtained by TMZ is a man appearing to match the description of the alleged shooter. Police say he appears to walk with a stiff right leg. Law enforcement sources telling us they believe he was hiding his long gun underneath his clothing. Hours later, as Charlie Kirk fired up the crowd, tossing out hats, authorities say the suspect made his way to the roof of a building about 175 yards from the stage and waited out of sight. At 12:23 p.m., Kirk began answering a question about gun violence.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
The suspect taking that single shot and then dropping off the roof. And this morning, tributes are pouring in for Kirk, who turned out millions of young voters for President Trump's re-election campaign and whose ultra-conservative views earned him a massive online following, as well as many detractors. Overnight, lawmakers honoring Kirk at the Kennedy Center in Washington. Charlie Kirk's widow speaking out for the first time over the weekend, holding back tears for the 31-year-old husband and the father of her children.
I will never, ever have the words to describe the loss that I feel in my heart.
And Charlie Kirk's funeral and memorial has now been set for this coming Sunday at State Farm Stadium just outside Phoenix, Arizona. That's where the Arizona Cardinals play. It's a stadium with a 70,000-person capacity. And President Trump said that he will be on hand. He's also ordered flags to have staff starting Wednesday afternoon. George.
Matt Gutman, thanks. We're going to get to the war in Ukraine now. President Trump is setting new conditions for imposing sanctions on Russia despite escalating Russian attacks on Ukraine and deployment of Russian drones on the territory of our NATO allies. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the story. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, for weeks, President Trump has been threatening to impose tough sanctions on Russia. Now, this morning, he says he's ready to go ahead, but only if NATO allies agree to his unlikely conditions. This morning, as Russia steps up its aggression, President Trump is raising new conditions for tough sanctions on Moscow.
But Europe is buying oil from Russia. I don't want them to buy oil. And the sanctions that they're putting on are not tough enough. And I'm willing to do sanctions, but they're going to have to toughen up their sanctions commensurate with what I'm doing.
Trump saying he'll sanction Russia, but only if NATO countries do the same and agree to impose sanctions on China, an unlikely scenario. He's also demanding NATO members stop buying Russian oil and gas.
This is, in a way, a bit of an empty threat.
For weeks, the president has threatened Russia with economic consequences, but never followed through, blowing past his own deadlines. On Capitol Hill, the pressure growing from some Republicans who say it's time to act now.
I think appropriate sanctions on Russia are far overdue.
It comes as tension is running high in Eastern Europe. Russia and Belarus holding joint military exercises as Romania Saturday scrambled fighter jets after Russian drones violated their airspace, the second incursion over a NATO country in less than a week. Just days earlier, Poland forced to shoot down more than a dozen Russian drones that crossed into the country's airspace. Trump has downplayed Russia's drone incursion.
Could have been a mistake. Could have been a mistake.
But Poland insists it was deliberate. Texas Congressman Michael McCall telling ABC he believes it was too.
With all deference to the president, I don't think that was a mistake. I think Putin is testing the resolve of NATO.
It's been 1 month since Trump rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin in Alaska, promising he would face severe sanctions if he didn't agree to a ceasefire. Since then, though, Putin has only escalated the war. And Russia is also, of course, still slow-walking any hopes for peace talks, despite President Trump announcing weeks ago that arrangements were beginning to be made for Putin to finally sit down and talk with Ukrainian President Zelensky. President Trump now conceding this is proving to be more difficult than he initially thought it would be, George.
And Mary, the president making new threats to send troops into American cities.
Yeah, the president is once again escalating his use of the military on U.S. soil. This time, though, he's targeting a Republican state, announcing he's going to be sending in the National Guard to Memphis, saying only he can save the city from crime. The Republican governor is welcoming this deployment, but the Democratic mayor of the city says he doesn't need this, doesn't want it, doesn't think it will bring down crime there. Meanwhile, here in D.C., the president is again threatening to declare a national emergency if local police refuse to cooperate with immigration enforcement, George.
Mary Bruce, thanks. Robin?
And George, now to American warplanes landing over the weekend in Puerto Rico in a show of force ordered by President Trump as part of a campaign targeting drug cartels in the Caribbean that has fueled tensions with Venezuela. Victor Oquendo is tracking the latest for us from Miami. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Robin. It was a tense weekend in the Caribbean. Those F-35s seen landing at a military base in Puerto Rico. This as Venezuela accuses the United States of illegally seizing a fishing boat. This morning, with tensions rising in the Caribbean, a show of force as 5 American F-35 aircraft land in Puerto Rico. President Trump says he's not ruling out striking parts of Venezuela after he ordered 10 stealth fighters to join a military buildup meant to combat drug trafficking.
Do you think we will start doing strikes on the mainland, Venezuela?
Oh, we'll see what happens. Venezuela's government releasing this video saying it shows a U.S. Navy destroyer and a tuna boat moments before armed U.S. personnel from the warship boarded the boat with fishermen on board in Venezuelan waters. But U.S. officials telling ABC News this happened in international waters, and it was Coast Guard members who searched the boat for drugs but didn't find any. Venezuelans calling the incident hostile and illegal. This is the second dispute between the two countries in recent weeks. The U.S. launching this fatal military strike on an alleged smuggling boat in the southern Caribbean, carrying 11 suspected gang members believed to be carrying illegal drugs headed to the U.S., though the White House has not provided evidence they were members of the Tren de Aragua gang or that there were drugs on the boat. Venezuela's government now urging its people to enlist in militias as armed volunteers. President Nicolas Maduro telling his people to prepare for an armed conflict if needed. George?
Victor Oquendo, thanks. We'll return now to the Federal Reserve. Widely expected to cut interest rates at its meeting this week. Our chief economics correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, is here with the details. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, George. Robin, nice to see both of you. And this is a crucial decision for the economy and your wallet. The Fed has to balance a weakening jobs market with hiring slowing and inflation, which is still high in some categories, especially at the grocery store. You see it in coffee, ground beef, and apples. The Fed is widely expected to cut interest rates by 0.25%, meaning it gets a little bit cheaper to borrow money. Think lower credit card APRs, less expensive car loans. This can also impact mortgage rates, which have been moving lower in anticipation. The average 30-year fixed rate mortgage hit its lowest level since 2024 earlier this month. It is 6.29% this morning. And you can take a look at what that means for a mortgage on a $400,000 home. At the start of this year, it would have run you about $24.58 a month. This time, at this rate, it is $23.07. That means you're saving over $150 a month. Robin, we talk about this a lot. These tiny little moves in mortgage rates, they really add up to your wallet.
Can make a big difference for many people. All right, Rebecca, thank you. Now to the biggest game of week 2 of the NFL season. You know what I'm talking about, the Super Bowl rematch. And once again, the Eagles came out on top. Will Reeve joins us now from Houston, the site of one of tonight's Monday Night Football games. Good morning to you, Will.
Good morning to you, Robin. Looking forward to the game here tonight and in Las Vegas. But how about our guy Michael? He knows ball. He called his shot in that Chiefs-Eagles game. There was a lot of action all day long, but that Super Bowl rematch was the main event.
It was the rematch we've all been waiting for.
including our own Michael Strahan, who predicted on Fox Sports the Philadelphia Eagles would soar over the Kansas City Chiefs on the pregame show.
I'm no fool. I know what city I'm in right now, so I'm going with the Eagles!
Jalen Hurts and the Super Bowl champion Eagles in Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Saquon Barkley is in.
It was a tight game from the start. Eagles superstar Saquon Barkley scoring the game's first touchdown.
Mahomes looking for the end zone. Touchdown!
Mahomes answering, running it in on his own. Tight end Travis Kelce, who arrived to the game in this suit with shorts, coming up short in a big moment.
Oh, it's picked off!
A pass from Mahomes bouncing off his hands for an interception.
Hurts shoving his way in. He's in! Touchdown, Philadelphia!
The reigning champs later icing the game with the tush push and hanging on for the win to remain undefeated this season.
We showed up when we needed to the most, and that's the most important thing in this league is finding ways to win.
Kansas City finds itself in unfamiliar territory with an 0-2 record to start the season for the first time in over a decade. But Travis Kelce stays winning off the field, sharing the details of his proposal to Taylor Swift on the Fox pregame show.
The palms were definitely sweating.
Really?
I was definitely, I'm an emotional guy, so there were a few tears here and there, but it's been an exciting ride up to this date, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with him.
And tonight in the nightcap, we've got 2 Monday Night Football games, one of them right here in Houston. And coming up, guys, in our next hour, I have the story of the inspiring bond between a Texan star and one of his coaches. It's really special. Looking forward to sharing that. And more football.
Yeah, we can't wait for you to share that story. It is something. And also, Troy Aikman is going to join us live a little bit later this morning as well.
Robin, you sat down with the stars of the morning show.
Yes, Alex Levy and no, actually, Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
We'll be right back.
Their characters are something else. So good. Reba. Back here on GMA, golden night for Hollywood at the MAs. Reba and Karen and Kimberly from Little Big Town paying tribute to the Golden Girls on the show's 40th anniversary. We've got so much more in the night's biggest winners and some history-making moments. That's coming up in just a bit, but that was really special.
Yeah, I love hearing that song. Yeah. First new at 7:30 over the weekend. Israel intensified its attacks on Gaza City, launching airstrikes, destroying high-rise buildings. As Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Jerusalem to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu, Netanyahu said Israel is planning to take over Gaza City in its effort to eliminate Hamas. Also, the FBI has arrested 2 men near Salt Lake City facing terrorism and weapons charges after an explosive device was found under a vehicle belonging to a local news station. Police say the device had been lit, but it failed to explode. And take a look at that. If you couldn't see, the guy caught a foul ball with one hand while holding his baby in the other arm.
What?
There it is. There's unbelievable.
The baby never flinched.
Not a bit. Fans cheered.
I think the baby's mama, though, probably flinched when she saw that. Now, a troubling new Wall Street Journal investigation that says toxic fumes have sometimes leaked into airplanes, making crews and passengers dangerously ill. Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is here with more for us. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Robin, good morning. Yeah, this was an exhaustive investigation. The Journal finding at least one flight attendant who says she was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury because of toxic fumes. This morning, a new Wall Street Journal investigation says across airlines, the rate of flights with toxic fumes is accelerating, spiking in 2017, driven in large part by leaks on a particular Airbus jet, the A320.
That kind of raised that question. Well, what changed in 2017?
According to the Journal's review of internal documents, Airbus loosened maintenance rules following suspected fume events.
An aircraft would have an event, the issue wouldn't be dealt with and then be sent back into the skies regardless.
In a statement to ABC News, Airbus says its aircraft are designed and manufactured according to all relevant and applicable airworthiness requirements. The Journal says a neurologist has treated about a dozen pilots and more than 100 flight attendants for what has been described as brain injuries after alleged exposure to fumes on planes over the last 20 years.
Our union has been concerned about this for decades, and we've been concerned about it because of the very real life consequences that crew members have faced.
On most planes, air is pulled in from the outside through engines. So if any seals are worn or degraded, oils from lubricated bearings enter the air and vaporize heat, releasing unknown quantities of toxic compounds, according to the Wall Street Journal report. But not all smells or vapors are toxic. The FAA telling us they are rare. Quote, studies have shown cabin air is as good as or better than the air found in offices and homes, adding that airlines are required to report such fume events to them. Now, the airlines we spoke with say smoke, fumes, and odor events are exceedingly rare and that they take each one seriously. But clearly, as the Journal found here, there are real concerns here.
We were talking about how sometimes when we're on a flight and you see it and you're told it's something else, and now you're wondering what exactly.
And now you're wondering, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
We're left to wonder. Yeah.
Thank you, Gio. We're going to turn now to a new video of a Washington State man accused of impersonating a police officer and responding to emergency calls in full uniform. Stephanie Ramos has the details. Good morning, Stephanie.
Hey, George. Good morning. This man in Washington State was pretending to be a police officer, and he went all out, arrived in a dark SUV with police lights, body armor, and a metallic-looking badge, but something still gave him away.
At first glance, it looked like a routine police response to a trespassing call in Bremerton, Washington.
I thought you were like one of our detectives at first.
I know some of the guys were with the task force.
What agency did you say you were with?
Edmonds?
You're with Edmonds?
Edmonds, yes.
But investigators say none of that was true. The man in uniform, 49-year-old Michael Scaletta-Teets, isn't a detective. He's a convicted felon accused of impersonating a police officer. Police say he showed up at multiple emergency calls, dressed in a tactical vest with a badge, driving an unmarked Ford Explorer with flashing blue lights. Officers say he even called himself Mezzi Scaletta. When he couldn't provide a police commission card, required ID for officers, suspicions grew. A quick call to Edmonds Police Department confirmed it. They'd never heard of him.
Can we not do this in front of everybody? I mean, really?
Inside his truck, police say Scaletta-Teets had a litany of gear, from police patches to a firefighter's helmet.
Look, he's got a firefighter helmet, too. He's ready to do it all.
Scaletta-Teets was promptly taken into custody, appearing in court earlier last week. A judge setting his bail for $50,000.
You can't say he didn't commit to the bit. The suspect has pleaded not guilty. He's now facing 2 felony charges: unlawful possession of a firearm and criminal impersonation. Robin.
Hey, Stephanie, before you run off, congratulations. We understand you were promoted to Lieutenant Colonel. Tell people about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, promoted to Lieutenant Colonel in the Army Reserve just this past week. I've been in the Army Reserve for 23 years, and in that major rank, as you know, because of your dad and his military experience, you're in that major rank for a couple of years, so this feels good. Thank you for the support, and to all my friends and family.
That's awesome.
Couldn't have done it without them.
You deserve it. You've earned it.
Thank you, Robin.
Steph.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
Now with television's Golden Night, the Emmys, The Pit, The Studio, Adolescence, and Hacks, just some of the shows shining overnight. And speaking of shining, Janae Norman, give us those highlights.
Yes, it was such a fun, big history-making night, guys, for so many. As you mentioned, Robin, The Pit and The Studio, they cleaned up. And not only was it a big night for so many, but for at least one person who waited a long time to take home the gold.
Noah Wyle.
This morning, the long Emmy wait is finally over for Noah Wyle, taking home his first Emmy win, having been nominated more than 2 decades earlier for ER, but finally bringing it home with The Pit.
What a dream this has been. Oh, my goodness. To anybody who's going on shift tonight or coming off shift tonight, thank you for being in that job. This is for you.
But it was The Studio getting the last laugh.
Seth Rogen, The Studio.
The team from The Studio.
The Studio.
taking home the most wins ever with 13 Emmys, including Outstanding Comedy Series.
Thank you very much. I'm legitimately embarrassed by how happy this makes me.
Seth Rogen winning his first Emmy for lead actor and again for Outstanding Director. It was a night full of firsts. Tremel Tillman making history as the first black man to win for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama for Severance.
Do the work, show up, and most importantly, for the love of God, don't embarrass me in public. My first acting coach was tough, y'all, but all great mothers are. Mama, you were there for me when no one else was, and this is for you.
And 15-year-old Owen Cooper, who made his acting debut in adolescence, becoming the youngest male actor to win an Emmy.
So I think tonight proves that if you listen and you focus and you step out your comfort zone, you can achieve anything in life.
Andor, the critically acclaimed Star Wars series, winning 5 Emmys, including Outstanding Writing for a Drama Series.
I want to thank the fans who did more than watch the show. They listened, they cared.
Comedian Nate Bargatze serving as MC, taking the saying, time is money, to a new level.
Sorry, every second you go over 45 seconds, we will deduct $1,000 away from the Boys and Girls Club.
Charging winners if they go over their allotted time.
We're under. Thank you. See, that is a lot of money for you.
I'll pay the difference. Sorry.
The night also filled with touching tributes.
Thank you for being a friend.
Reba McEntire and Little Big Town's Karen Fairchild and Kimberly Schlattman with the shining rendition of the Golden Girls theme song.
Thank you for being a friend.
There were so many fun nights. Now, by the end of the night, they were out of funds for the Boys and Girls Club, but CBS and the host Nate did give a total of $350,000 to the organization, right? That would have been awful. But man, Tremel Tillman talking about his mama, the Golden Girls tribute, it was all so good.
Yeah, it was a sweet night. We needed that.
And Mama makes you a good actor, doesn't she?
He was funny. He was funny in that episode.
Thank you, Janae. Play of the Daytime special concert at the Vatican. James Longman was there. Hey, James.
Hi, George. Yeah, it was a phenomenal night. We were lucky enough to be up on the roof watching the whole thing at St. Peter's Square. Tens of thousands were there for this extraordinary concert. It was a celebration of music from all over the world, but the drone display really stole the show.
In world-famous St. Peter's Square,
Make some noise for God.
Pharrell Williams, John Legend, Karol G and Jennifer Hudson, among a whole host of megastars coming together for the Grace of the World concert. Throughout the night, a spectacular drone show wowing the tens of thousands assembled. As opera star Andrea Bocelli sang Amazing Grace, some of Michelangelo's most famous artworks reproduced by 3,000 drones. The famous La Pieta, the hands of God and Jesus almost touching, and the dove of the Holy Spirit high over the basilica. And an image of the late Pope Francis, greeted by huge cheers from the crowd. The elaborate light show taking a year and a half to pull together. Pharrell and Bocelli co-directing the spectacle to send a message of unity through music, part of the Vatican's World Meeting on Human Fraternity. Karol G's duet with Bocelli electrifying the night.
Well, it was also something of a birthday treat for Pope Leo. He turned 70 yesterday. He thanked well-wishers at his noon address. And in his first interview as Pope, he said it's been quite an adjustment, suddenly becoming a world leader. And then it's been a big learning curve ahead of him. But yeah, that concert was just amazing.
Oh, my goodness. That was spectacular.
Really
I know, got chills just watching it. Thank you, James. Coming up, the WNBA playoffs tipping off with all 8 teams in action on Sunday. And Will is in Houston ahead of one of tonight's Monday Night Football matchups. Hey there, Will.
Hey there, Robin. Coming up, we have the story of one Texans player's improbable journey from living in motels as a teenager all the way to the NFL, and the young coach who helped him along the way. They are now reunited here in Houston. All that and more coming up on GMA.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. The summer heat is holding on. Temperatures soaring, but how long will it last? Plus the tornado outbreak, at least 20 reported overnight. Ginger is tracking it all.
Cowboys in OT.
After a wild Sunday,
Shoving his way in. He's in. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
we're counting down to Monday Night Football with Hall of Famer Troy Aikman joining us live ahead of tonight's big doubleheader.
It's gonna be a good day.
And they're back.
Oh my God, Jill! Oh my God, Rachel!
Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon on the new season of our other favorite morning show, Tag.
Tag, you're it.
Oh, I know you were going to do
fast.
Buckle up.
I'm up at 4 a.m. Call me. All of a sudden, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
As they say, Good morning, America.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Monday. Good morning, America.
Jen and Reese, they are a delight. Can't wait to share that conversation with you. What'd you do this weekend, George?
I went to my first fight.
Uh-huh. You know how I know that?
How do you know that?
Because we saw you. Okay, well, you gotta look fast. Wait. See, right there to the right. Oh, right there to the right.
I'm not even there. Oh, there I am.
Yeah. Hey, it was enough. It was enough because the studio crew, the reason I know, their group chat blew up when they saw.
What is wrong with this picture?
That was your first fight?
My first fight. I have a group of friends who go all the time. We had a great time.
And Crawford, wow.
He's a great boxer.
Well, it was so
as I learned.
Well done.
Thank you. Also, millions of people are suffering from back pain. Dr. Turner Rule is here with a new study that looks at acupuncture as a possible treatment. First, we have a look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with the summer heat that is holding strong, plus the tornado outbreak in the heartland. Ginger's tracking it, of course. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, let's start with the more than 24 reported tornadoes Saturday and Sunday from Utah up through South and North Dakota. Lots of those tornado reports. But we also saw hail and damaging wind, George, from Nebraska up through parts of Kansas, or down to Kansas and up into Iowa. So, want to tell you that those are riding, and actually should show you the pictures. I'm sorry, we have to go back over here. I moved too quickly. That was my fault. The pictures from those tornadoes, this was in southeastern Utah. What we love about this is this was out in the plains, out where nobody was getting hurt. And then in Wing, North Dakota, you can see that condensation kind of rotating there over an open field. We will not see more severe weather, but we will see a lot of the heat that this was riding up along. And that's going to stick around for much of the week. For so many people, Minneapolis, their average last 90 is late August. And so now we're pushing 2.5 to 3 weeks later than average. We see a 90 tomorrow. Chicago in the 80s. Cincinnati, same thing. Nashville stays in the 90s as we head through most of this week. We will see a break from the heat, though, by the end of the week and back to more seasonal average or even a little below average in parts of the plains here. But look, Chicago 80 still on Friday, Cincinnati 90. And if you like where that came from, there's more of it next week. We stay above average, especially right there from Michigan down to Texas. Robin?
All right, Ginger, thank you. Now, the WNBA playoffs was tipped off on Sunday, and if yesterday was any indication of how the road to the year's final will be, we're in for a real treat. We're going to pass the ball. We'll bounce past now.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Oh, there you go.
What a start to the playoffs, Robin. The stage was set. The ladies of the W were ready, and all 8 teams took to the hardwood yesterday. The first round, best of 3 series, tipped off yesterday. 3-seed Atlanta beating the Indiana Fever, who played without their star point guard, Caitlin Clark. She is out for the rest of the season with an injury. And the Minnesota Lynx, they dominated the brand new Golden State Valkyries 101-72. They were led by their veteran Napheesa Collier. And we got to talk about the reigning champs, the New York Liberty, chasing that repeat, battling against the Mercury. This game was so close. It went to an overtime thriller with the Liberty ultimately pulling it off. Stewart getting injured, by the way, last night. The night ended with the Las Vegas Aces, led by A'ja Wilson, taking a decisive win, 102-77, leaving the Seattle Storm out for revenge in Game 2. The stakes are so high. The losing teams now facing a must-win in Game 2 because this is the best of 3 to make it to the semifinals, which will then be the best of 5. We know legends are born in the playoffs. This postseason has plenty of big stars ready to show that their team is the best.
Best of 3, that's really tough.
It's really tough.
You go down in that first game.
It's already now a must-win for those teams.
And so many injuries impacting.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rihanna. I love your enthusiasm for it. We have a GMA health alert right now. New research indicating acupuncture may provide more relief for chronic lower back pain in older adults than medications alone. Our Chief Medical Correspondent, Dr. Tara Narula, is here with more. You got to break down this study for us.
Good morning. Yes, so chronic low back pain is so disabling, and it affects about a third of Americans over the age of 65. We talk about medications and surgery. They're costly. They don't always work. So acupuncture has emerged as another potential option. Now, acupuncture is 2,000 years old. It's been practiced in China and Eastern medicine since then. Really came into this country in the 1970s, actually, Robin, when a New York Times reporter was in China. He was in the press corps, had his appendix taken out, and got acupuncture used for post-operative pain management, came back and wrote about it. So we've seen this kind of advancement in this country. It's been used for cancer symptoms, gastrointestinal issues, psychological, and back pain. The way it works is really 5 to 20 of these very fine needles that are put into different anatomic positions, and they're left in for about 10 to 15 minutes. The idea is that it kind of improves the qi, or the vital life energy force. Now, in this study, they looked at 800 older Americans over the age of 65 with chronic low back pain. They divided them into 3 groups. A third got standard medical care, a third got standard care plus acupuncture for about 3 months, about 15 sessions, and then the last group got an extension. They did about 6 months of acupuncture. They found that the groups that got acupuncture, both groups, had a reduction in pain disability at 6 months and 12 months, a reduction in pain intensity at 6 months, improvement in their physical function at 6 months, and improvement in overall anxiety. So a lot of improvements with just acupuncture.
Wow, that is really something there. I've tried it a couple of times. It's pretty effective for me. What else do people know about it?
Yeah, so it's generally safe, and as you mentioned, there are not a lot of contraindications. So people might think if I'm on blood thinners, I can't do it, or if I'm pregnant. I know I did it when I was pregnant. And really, as I mentioned, it's been used for a lot of different conditions, not just for pain. Medicare actually covers up to 20 sessions in the course of a year. Some private insurance companies cover it too. And you can look online and see who is certified, who's licensed. We do know there's about almost 40,000 practitioners in the U.S., mostly centered in New York, California, and Florida. And a lot of even the cancer centers, National Cancer Institute centers that are designated as such, use acupuncture as part of their hospital-based treatment. So really, you know, an explosion in acupuncture in the last 30 years, and can be helpful for a lot of people.
Let me ask you, but it doesn't hurt at all? You don't feel
It
it?
doesn't. They're so tiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Now, with our GMA cover story, the countdown to a Monday Night Football doubleheader here on ABC and ESPN. Troy Aikman will be calling one of those games, and the Hall of Famer joins us now with a preview. You're good to get up early. Last week it was Joe getting up early. Now you're a team player. You're getting up early. But before we talk about, and thank you very much for doing this. We mean it, Troy.
Oh, you're welcome.
Before we get to tonight's game where you are, before we get to your Cowboys' thrilling win, come on, that Super Bowl rematch, the Eagles coming out on top once again. It's the first time that the Chiefs have started 0-2 since 2014. What do you make of that, Troy?
Not too much just yet. I have too much confidence, obviously, in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and I think they'll figure it out. They'll probably figure it out this week. They got an advantageous matchup in that game coming up. But this game against Philadelphia, clearly a great game between those two, the rematch of the Super Bowl, as you mentioned. And the Philadelphia Eagles they're proving to people, as they did last year, that they're the cream of the crop. They've done a great job with that roster. They're coached very well. They play extremely hard. I love everything about what they do within that organization, and it was a big road win for them, no doubt.
How about your Cowboys?
Amazing. I mean, such an amazing game. I was able to watch that game yesterday, and to be in a game like that, I don't think the Cowboys thought that they would be in a shootout like that. But Russell Wilson was terrific, had one of his best games in years. And if you're going to be in a game like this, the Cowboys have the ultimate weapon in Brandon Aubrey. I mean, for him to just be nails when he had to make those in order to keep the game alive and then to win it, pretty incredible. Whatever they're paying him, they're not paying him enough, because in these games that come down to the wire, at 64 yards, he could have made it from 74 yards. It was pretty amazing, the leg strength that he has and the confidence that the team has in him.
Well, Strahan doesn't share your sentiment in the game, but that's okay. We'll keep that between us. You're there in H-Town in Houston for the Texans game with Tampa Bay. How do you see that matchup tonight?
Well, I expect it to be a heck of a ball game. I expect all of them to be that. But I think for Houston, coming off a really tough opener in Los Angeles, this is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, and they've made it to the divisional round the last 2 years. You just cannot afford to go 0-2, and now to open up at home. The crowd will be into this, but this Tampa team's really well coached as well. They're a playoff team. They've won the division the last 3 years. It should be a great matchup between these two teams for sure.
The other game tonight, Los Angeles versus Las Vegas. Can the Chargers keep it going after that win over Kansas City?
Well, I think they can. I'm a big fan of Jim Harbaugh's and what he's been able to do really at every stop, whether it's in college or in the pros. And we saw how Justin Herbert got off to his start last week in Brazil against the Chiefs, red hot, which I'm not surprised about, by the way. One, he's a great talent, but if you look at where Jim Harbaugh has been at every stop, his quarterbacks have played some of their best football. So I would expect that to continue. That'll be a fun game coming off of the heels of our game, which is an earlier start tonight, as you mentioned, with the doubleheader here on Monday Night Football.
Playing two. Let's play two. Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Troy.
right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the players taking the field tonight in the Monday Night Football matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Houston Texans has an inspiring and unlikely path to the gridiron, going from living in a motel to being an NFL star. Will Reeve is back with his story. Hey, Will.
Hey, George. Good morning. Last year, Houston Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair was suspended 3 games for a hit on Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence. And in the letter notifying him of his suspension, the league accused Al-Shaair of lacking respect for the game. And Al-Shaair told me that hurt his soul, that it was one of the darkest moments of his life because this game has given everything to this man who once had almost nothing and had to overcome seemingly impossible odds just to get here with the help of a young coach who's now in Houston too.
Seven-year NFL veteran Azeez Al-Shaair is a star and a leader for the Houston Texans. But his path to the NFL was unlikely and strewn with obstacles.
Azeez Al-Shaair stops the first down.
My mother and my father were together up until the time I was about 10 years old, and they got divorced, and my mom is now a single mother with 8 kids. And I just remember, like, we had a place to stay, sleeping in my grandmother's house, but there was no furniture, so we slept on the floor.
One morning when Azeez was 12, the house caught fire.
The entire kitchen just engulfed in flames, and I'm just sitting there like, bro, like, we already had nowhere to go. The house was gone. And yeah, at that point, we were literally like homeless in the truest sense of like being on the street.
What did the future look like to you at that point?
I believed I could be here. I had no clue how. I couldn't tell you how. I just had to just literally believe in something that I couldn't see.
While living in a motel, Al-Shaair starred at Hillsborough High School outside Tampa, where he caught the eye of a young coach at Florida Atlantic University named Nick Caley, who would change his life.
I remember specifically watching him practice and the spirit and the energy that he was playing.
So it's like I've never even heard of FAU up until this point, and you know, then in comes in the office comes Nick, and he's always had this like huge like energy about him that like smiling, what's up, dog?
One-on-ones. Good.
Soon, Al-Shaair felt comfortable being vulnerable with Caley.
We didn't have electricity or whatever the case may have been. And like I remember like we sit there and we talk, like we have some deep conversations. I mean, I was 16 years old, 17 years old. He was the first person I ever actually opened up to, college coach I ever told about that.
When Azeez opened up to you about his circumstances and you went and saw him at that motel, what do you remember thinking?
You never would have sensed anything because he never let that dictate anything in his life. He never let it stand in his way.
Al-Shaair went to play at FAU, but Caley left for a bigger coaching job in the NFL. Still, they remained close.
Seeing like and feeling that genuine like care that he had for me, and it just, you know, really like grew on me.
Now it's a new season, and for the first time, Al-Shaair and Caley are on the same team. Caley's in his first year as the Texans' offensive coordinator. Always connected, now the coach and player are grateful to see each other every day.
It's so crazy to think like this is the same person who knew me at 16 years old, staying in a motel with my family.
It's fate. Like, we're here, and I'm really blessed, and now we're on the same team.
And guys, some words to live by that Al Shire had drilled into him by his mother. That which is for you shall not pass you by, and that which passes you by is not for you. There's some Monday motivation there for you guys. I love that, and I love Monday Night Football. I love it so much. We got 2 games tonight, Houston, Tampa here, ABC and ESPN at 7 Eastern, then Raiders, Chargers at 10 p.m., guys. Really great stuff.
Wow, what a story.
Great story. Thank you, Will.
Now to Deals and Steals. We're kicking off our September sizzle, and Tori Johnson, fresh off of her birthday yesterday,
thank you.
has products from small businesses.
Yes, we do. We're starting at, Brad was saying that this should be in honor of George, who uses a French press to make his coffee. So if you want to be like George, or you just want really, really, really good coffee, then these French press machines are really the ones for you. So we've got this right here, the P7, not just in stainless, but in any of the colors. Is the top of the, it's gorgeous, top of the line model. The thing that is magical about these that makes them so popular is that it's got the double micro fillers. So what that means is that you're not going to get any grit in your coffee, which is what sometimes happens. So if you want completely grit-free coffee every single time, this is the machine for you. We also have, this is the most lightweight French press on the market. Super lightweight, easy for on the go, no matter what you choose. Good coffee's coming your way at 50% off.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, that's a good
one.
Okay, this is amazing. KeySmart. It's one of the easiest ways to make sure that you keep track of and do not lose essentials. So, starting with your wallet, if you keep this little trackable card inside of your wallet, this smart card, then if you lose it, it is compatible with the Apple Find My function. So you then find your wallet. How about your keys? This particular device right here has the tracker built in, the KeySmart Pro, and then it's also just an easy way to be able to store your keys with no jingle in your pockets. Kind of a nice little way. And then this lock right here is really popular, and it has the tracker built right in. So if you are traveling and you're concerned about your luggage, you want to use one of those because, again, it has that tracker. And then if you just want a simple way for your keys, we've got them without the trackers, plus lots of different accessories that come to make it even more functional. You can add tools to this. Everything from KeySmart slashed in half today.
50% off again.
So smart. Yes. Okay. This is one of the easiest ways to be able to keep organized with cords, whether it's small cords like a hair tool, an iron, or kind of larger things like hoses and electrical wires that might be in a garage or a work area. It's rapid storage, and it's just a heavy-duty polypropylene fabric. It's got this really super strong grommet here, holds up to 50 pounds. So not only can you put it around this to keep the cords organized, but then you can hang it, even some of those heavy-duty tools. A 12-pack of these, 50% off. They're $15.
This is gold. This is gold. Because wires are always cords are everywhere.
So if you care about having an organized space, that is for you. All right. How about not having to carry a heavy bag everywhere you go? You know what? This one is looks prettier for you. So this is O-Venture. So it feels good because it's a really silky smooth fabric, and so you could keep just cards, cash, ID, a lip gloss. If you've got more stuff like sunglasses, medications, you can add the big one onto here. You can put keys on this. So if you're just doing like a quick errand, like a dog walk, coffee run, dropping the kids at school, you don't need everything. You just take this. Super stylish and sleek. O-Venture is a fabulous company. All slash 50 to 60%, starting at $14.
So light.
It's
so
very
light.
lightweight.
Durable, though. You can tell it's strong.
Exactly. Okay, Lusso gear. So this is all about traveling in a way that keeps you organized and also clean. So we have everything from their car seat covers. So for your front seat or back seat, we've got the back seat covers too. We've got garbage cans for your car. This goes on the back seat, the back of the front seat, and it prevents people from kicking. And they're most popular. This is the airline tray if you've got kids. All of this stuff, accessibly priced organization, $10 to $20.
I like the name Emma.
And then finally, Fluffco. We've got the pillows that are manufactured by the same that do the fancy hotels they also manufacture. So we've got down alternative, we've got soft and firm, so depending on your sleep style, plus the robes, plus the pillowcases. If you want hotel-like luxury at home, baby, we got it for you at 50% off. So whether are you someone who do you like a firm pillow or do you like a little squish?
I like a little squish, Thank you, Tori. We have partnered with these great companies on these great products. You can get them at gmadeals.com. I love how you have your own website now.
Thank you.
The screen takes you there, the QR code that's right there on the screen. You're going to be back tomorrow?
I will be.
Because it's September Sizzle. All right, coming up, conversation with the Hollywood superstars behind the morning show. Oh, you should be. Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. Come on back to GMA. We loved your son.
Thank you.
We loved Malcolm Jamal.
Thank you, Robin.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, beloved TV star, musician, husband, father. His heartbreaking, shocking death.
It was so sudden.
It was so sudden.
And now tomorrow, his mother with Robin.
What is it that you were told about that day?
The deeply emotional, loving interview.
Are you feeling love from folks?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Tomorrow morning on ABC's Good Morning America.
Heartfelt conversation there.
Pamela, the mother, and I have to say, even when you were watching, you were like, oh, I didn't realize he was a musician.
Yeah.
There was so much, yes, we knew him from The Cosby Show, but there was so much more to him, and his death just took us all by surprise, and it was an emotional, raw interview, but very uplifting as well, and she also wanted to set some of the things straight that people think happened on that fateful day.
Hearing that. You had some fun with Reese and Jen.
Oh, Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, the morning show stars. They're about to kick off season 4. I sat down with Reese and Jen, to talk about what it's like to lead the show both in front of and behind the camera.
I can't even begin to express how thrilled I am to be sitting in this iconic studio.
From the desk to the control room.
We're live in 10.
To the C-suite. This morning show is capturing the fast-paced world of morning news that we know so well. Hello.
Hi, Robin.
What a dynamic duo. Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon returning for season 4 of The Morning Show.
Cheers.
Cheers. I love morning television, so I would wake up to all of you beautiful faces and feel comforted and feel like I could go into the day. I was always just fascinated by the world and what goes on behind the scenes of a morning show. You silenced a journalist. I'm a journalist.
Taking that curiosity and turning it into one of the most popular shows on Apple TV+, thanks in part to their fierce and relentless news anchor characters, Alex Levy and Bradley Jackson.
They advertised You and Me, and I think we should give them You and Me.
Why do you think your characters through 4 seasons have resonated so well with viewers?
Well, I think everybody's in search of the truth. I think people that relate to that part of our show.
As a new chapter begins, they're pulling back the curtain on what goes on off the anchor desk.
So is that some kind of a threat?
How would you describe season 4?
So many juicy interpersonal relationships. For years, we've seen just what goes on in terms of work politics, but now we're seeing behind the curtain of their private lives.
And there is a lot of what is happening?
Yeah.
You did what?
From politics to AI. The show diving into modern-day news topics known to polarize audiences and spark real-life debate.
Every day, journalism is changing. We don't know where we turn on the news, who we trust. Podcasts have become so important. So we're getting to talk about all that stuff, but also still have these great storylines that are just about the human experience.
The show is also known for its complex ensemble of characters, welcoming 2 Academy Award winners to fill a few very important roles.
We get to meet my father.
Do you realize what you've done?
Oh, yes, Jeremy Irons.
Yes, we have so many gorgeous characters this season.
Celine.
Yes. Marion Cotillard.
What has it been like behind the scenes with them as part of the show now?
Playful, fun, wonderful, warm, just easy to work with, so giddy. Jeremy's a big kid.
Alex, come on. I'm saying this because I care about you.
Reese says one of her favorite parts of the project is their on-screen relationship.
They kind of cling to each other in a certain way. Every season sort of ends with them ultimately choosing each other, which I think is really beautiful. Your character cries a lot. My character's just cranky a lot.
You know, things are going to have to be different if we're going to resume this quote-unquote partnership.
Yeah, well, it comes out in different ways.
That bond, inspired by their own lives. You've known each other for a couple of decades. Just talk about how your friendship has evolved.
Well, we've grown up together.
Oh my God, Jill! Oh my God, Rachel!
The pair first working together on Friends, when Reese guest starred as Rachel's sister.
Yeah, we've known each other for 26 years, 25 years.
25 years.
Because my daughter was a little baby on Friends. This is how I mark time.
Yeah.
And now she's turning 26.
Now, as executive producers on the series, these two industry veterans are paving the way for future generations. Can I just say thank you both very much. Strong, powerful women. This women empowerment and leadership, how important is it to you both that be seen in the morning show?
It's so important.
I think it's critical right now.
It's so critical.
The history of what we've done in the film business and the movie business, and then for journalists, I think it's important to understand that there's a role for female leadership.
You got a sneak peek of season 4, too.
Oh, my gosh, about halfway through it is good. And
Cannot wait.
You're looking around going like, are they around? Are they here? Because Jen actually...
They came early on,
Yeah, they did. But season 4 of The Morning Show premieres Wednesday on Apple TV+. Coming up, Chef Samin Nosrat is here to cook up some good things. Come on.
We are back with James Beard Award-winning chef and cookbook author Samin Nosrat. Her new cookbook, Good Things, full of her favorite recipes and for family and friends. Welcome, great to see you here.
Thank you, nice to be here.
Yeah. So tell us about the new book, Good Things.
Oh, the book is a collection of all the things I cook at home for myself and my friends, and it's really just simple, good things.
Excellent, let's start
All right,
out.
so we're gonna make some olive oil fried bread. So this pan is nice and warm, and the tip, the trick is really to use a generous amount of oil.
I was going to say, you're not stinting on that at all.
And you want to get it nice and warm. This is sort of
shimmering.
Yeah, exactly, shimmering. Good job. You know what you're doing. And then you put the bread in, and you get it nice and sizzly, and it'll take about 3 to 4 minutes for it to get all the way golden brown.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, 3 to 4 minutes per side until it's really golden brown. I kind of think of it as like toast plus. So this is kind of what we want it to look like.
So you do both sides?
Yes, both sides, and that golden yumminess is just going to get it so crispy and delicious.
And this is called tomato confit, so explain what that is.
This is tomato confit, which is like a slow-cooked tomato. I like to do it with cherry tomatoes, so it's like they're just individual little flavor bombs, So the thing you want to do is dump in your cherry tomatoes until you have about a single layer. We have some basil leaves here to make a nice fragrant bed of like aroma. You're going to grate the garlic in. And you do add, again, a generous amount of oil.
Yeah, you don't skimp on that at all.
No, you don't skimp on the oil. And
so people shouldn't be afraid of that.
No, oil is flavor. I mean, this is also sort of the cooking medium to keep it cooking nice and gently. We're going to put it into a nice low oven and cook it. Oh, it's okay. You can leave it. Just move on to the next one. The garlic will sort of melt in there. And then also some salt. My first book was called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, so we want both. We want the salt and the fat in there to make it delicious. And then this will just simmer until the tomatoes look like this, basically until the skins are just popping open like that.
Oh, great.
And so why don't you make another toast for us? And you can do our last one and
tell me,
complete the thing.
You talked about your first book. You made that into a documentary series.
Yeah.
Think this could happen with this book as well?
Well, we never know, But if the right opportunity comes along, absolutely. I love telling stories of all kinds. I love taking people around the world and connecting through food. So if we get to, we will, absolutely.
Great. So tell us about the chickpea salad.
Awesome. So now we're going to make a marinated chickpea salad. And this one, we're really making a special vinaigrette with aquafaba, which is...
What's that?
It's the liquid from a can of chickpeas.
Okay.
And you can use it, and it'll create kind of a really creamy dressing, like a mayonnaise almost. So this is the aquafaba, some vinegar, some mustard, and you just use a little immersion blender, or you can do it in a blender, and you'll see it becomes this really creamy, like mayonnaise thick thing. And so we'll add lemon juice, oregano. This one I really modeled after like a classic Italian diner, like vinegary, oregano-y kind of
and
flavors.
It's kind of a meatless Monday dish as
Yes,
well.
this would be a great either side or a main on, for a light lunch, or meatless, because it's high protein with the chickpeas. And so we'll just add some of this, here we go. We're gonna add lemon zest and pepper and all this kind of stuff into here. Continue mixing it with your blender. And then
what's this right here?
That is onion powder, which is really a delicious flavor. And so at the end, once it's all blended, you get this really creamy, like mayonnaise-like thickness. And we're gonna throw that in there, blend it all together. Yeah, and then you want to add the dill, and the cucumber can go into here. Those are for the dressing, George. You're just messing up my salad. It's all good. It's all good. It's good. I'm sorry. I should have told you more clearly. But you can add the cucumbers in here. You do that, and I'll season it with salt and pepper. Here we're using some nice flaky salt. I'm going to grate some pepper in there and get it all mixed up. And then you let this sit for about 30 minutes. This is also
Can
a great...
you let it go longer than that?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? This is a great picnic dish or a potluck dish because it just gets better with time. And so once it's sat, it'll look like this.
And what's this, some pickled
and we're going to garnish it. Yeah, you want to add a little bit of pickled onion. Here's some crumbled feta. And then, and for a little extra yum, this is a little bit of preserved lemon paste, which is like a traditional sort of North African condiment for a little bit of extra salt and acid. And do you want to do the finishing touch with a little dill?
Sure, absolutely.
Make it beautiful for us.
Absolutely, I'll do my best here.
Awesome. You're natural.
You can get these recipes at GoodMorningAmerica.com. Samin's Cookbook Good Things comes out tomorrow. She'll be back on GMA3 with another great recipe.
You're a good little sous chef. I gotta say that. Disneyland is pulling back the curtain to reveal magical new details on how Walt Disney made his dream park a reality. The happiest story on earth, 70 years of Disneyland special edition of 2020 airs this Sunday at 8 p.m. on ABC. We'll stream the next day on Disney Plus and Hulu. And here's your first look.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
Frontierland, Tomorrowland.
Space Mountain was one of my favorite things.
Still one of your favorite rides, by the way.
It's a small world after all.
The Jungle Cruise.
I am a Haunted Mansion diehard.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Hello!
Join us to celebrate 70 years of Disneyland.
Girl, you look good for your age.
You would go through those doors at Disneyland and the rest of the world just went away.
People tried to touch his sleeve. People kept saying, God bless you, Walt.
There is a memory that I wanted to share with you. There are two. Well, there are three. Well, there are probably 1,500.
Now, a look into the future.
What's the new stuff?
We're taking you behind the scenes
Super secret, so don't tell anyone.
with the wonder of all the magic.
They don't call it the happiest place on earth for no reason.
Prepare yourself.
We were just so
You're about
lucky.
to be blown away.
The surprises and secrets, the history and heart of Disneyland.
I can't even finish a sentence right now. I'm so excited.
Disneyland taught me how to dream.
The happiest story on earth. 70 years of Disneyland. Sunday at 8/7 Central on ABC.
Hey, we are back now, and this morning kicks off a month-long celebration of Hispanic and Latin American culture. We are celebrating with a look at one tradition that has been bringing people joy for centuries, the piñata. Annabelle Munoz from KABC in Los Angeles joins us with more. Good morning, Annabelle.
Good morning, Ginger. I love the piñata action behind you. And piñatas are synonymous with joy and especially with Mexican and Mexican-American culture. I wanted to show you they really do come in all shapes and sizes. So I brought this tiny piñata with me I found while visiting one vibrant neighborhood that's keeping this tradition alive for generations of families. From animated films like Coco to Steve Martin in Parenthood, the piñata always steals the scene. But here in Los Angeles, it's not just a party tradition, it's a way of life. Welcome to the unofficial Piñata District, a neighborhood that's as vibrant as the traditions it keeps alive.
They came with a dream to bring Mexico to our people.
Nini Santoyo's family was one of the first to set up shop here more than 30 years ago.
You think piñata, you think happiness, because it was the life of the party.
Its origin dates back centuries, traced to China, Europe, the Aztecs and Mayans, in many cases imported from artisans in Mexico. Part of the fun is breaking the piñata. In Mexico, the person taking their shot at it is blindfolded as the crowd sings a song.
Dale, dale, no pierdas el tino, porque si lo pierdes, pierdes el camino.
And it's not just candy that could be inside.
It could be toys, it can be peanuts, it could be mandarins, it could be money, it could be anything you can possibly think of.
Here, the piñatas are traditional, innovative, big and small.
It's an art more than anything. Every single feature is primarily handmade. We can customize anything, anywhere from 12 inches up to we've done a 10-footer.
This mother was on a mission to celebrate her soon-to-be 4-year-old.
I have to focus and go look for the perfect piñata for him. So, I mean, even if I have to have it custom made, I have to do it for him.
The Piñata District reminding us that traditions are not just preserved.
It's really sweet when you see the parents telling their children, oh, we used to have these type of piñatas when we were little.
They're celebrated, shared, and carried forward, one piñata at a time.
It's just something that it directly hits home to us being a part of this.
And Ginger, piñatas were traditionally made of clay. Today, they're largely made of cardboard and paper mache like the one I'm holding. But as you heard, there's so much more to them than meets the eye.
Thank you, Annabelle. And we heard from one mom in the piece. She was searching for the perfect piñata for her son. But really, this isn't just about one person. It's about the entire family.
Ginger, it really is a family affair. Buying the piñata is the first part. So many of us have memories of uncles and dads climbing up on the rooftop and harnessing this piñata, pulling it up and down to tease the kids as everyone below cheers them on. Everyone really comes together to make this a memorable experience, particularly for the children. So I know you're doing some of that magic in studio today.
Oh, you know we are. Speaking of family, all these piñatas here from Fiesta Pop, a family-owned small business in Brooklyn, New York. And we're joined by this group of very excited kids. They cannot wait to hit, let me tell you. They are sharing in the celebration this morning. Is everybody having a good time? Are you all enjoying? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so this is not only a whole group, but we have one specific person we want to talk to. Mateo, tell me, what's your favorite thing about the piñata experience?
My favorite thing about the piñata experience is that I get to hit it, and then when we hit it and we break it, we can all run to get some candy, and then we can eat and have a fun time.
I was going to say, if we don't hear candy in one of these answers, I will be really disappointed. All right, so let's see it. Can we get the prize? Do you think you can do it? Get in there. She's close. She's close. Anybody. Sometimes they're hard, right? Sometimes it takes time. Does someone else want to come in and try? Hold on. Let me slow it down so we get a real good. Go for it. Go for it. We may have to work on this for some time, right? Keep going, guys. We got to get to that candy. Nobody's leaving here without candy. Yeah, it's coming. Look. We're so close. Go. Whack it. So close. I see the paper mache. Should I try? Okay. We're going to have to go, guys, but we'll keep doing this during the break.
They earned it. They earned it. Getting that candy. Wow.
We're glad they finally got it. Have a great day, everyone.